Am I the a-hole for telling my mom and sister the best help they can give is to shut the fuck up? My wife gave birth to our son 6 weeks ago. He's healthy and doing great. My wife is doing okay. Physically, she's pretty much fine, but emotionally, she is fragile right now. She's dealing with some anxiety post-baby and some other mental health problems she had before pregnancy. She has worked on them in therapy, but the pregnancy and PP hormones have flared up some stuff on her. She's also disappointed she couldn't breastfeed. She didn't try to, but that was in her best interest not to. And her reasons are not something she shares openly, but I'm aware, and so are her family who know her history. But she grew up in a home where the women breastfed. And while they understand, my mom and sister are also very pro-breastfeeding, like militant about it. I warned them before my wife gave birth that they were not to try and pressure her or give her helpful tips about it when it was not happening. They didn't listen to me and brought her some info from a breastfeeding group they're both members of and told her there was zero reason for her not try. This resulted in me telling them to leave. I let the rest of my family stay since they were good. But I told my mom and sister they had ignored my warning, and I gave them a very clear one. They were shocked. They said my wife never expressed a good reason for not being able to. I stated she doesn't need to answer to either of them. They asked a few times after this when they could visit, and I said not until they understand that they cannot cross that boundary that has been set. They brought me into a group call a few days ago and told me they wanted to come see us, and I asked if they were going to respect the boundary. They told me they just wanted to help. I told them the best help they can give is to shut the fuck up and be supportive of what she's doing. I said otherwise their help is not needed and would not be helpful in any way. They accused me of being too harsh and disrespectful in the way I was talking to them, and they feel like they're being punished for looking out for my wife and my son's best interests. I said they're not doing that. They're doing what they think is best even after everything I said to them. So they're angry I told them to shut the fuck up. Am I the a-hole? Next story. Am I the a-hole for making my sister pay me back for throwing out my daughter's bra? Right now, we're hosting my sister and her family because their home was damaged by Hurricane Helene. There are some rules in place. Be respectful of our living space. Her sons are not allowed in my daughter Thea's room, and as soon as the repairs are done, they are out of here. Her sons broke one of the rules when they went into Thea's room and went through her things. They found one of Thea's special compression bras. Thea has been doing theater ever since she was little. The compression bra looks like a tank top, and she uses it if she is playing a boy or a young girl and has to flatten her chest to better look the part. Their mom found it and threw it away. We didn't realize this until Thea was packing her theater bag for play practice and realized it was missing. This is not great because she's starring as Viola in her school's production of Twelfth Night. Thea buys most of her theater stuff like makeup and costumes, and the bra was pretty expensive, $50. I told my sister she needed to pay us back so we could replace it. My sister refuses because she says she isn't doing well financially, and how dare I demand a homeless woman pay for her boys being boys. Not to mention, she doesn't think it's appropriate for her to have something like that. Our mom, who has always been soft on Judy, thinks we're being too harsh since she's a single mom who doesn't have a home right now. I just want my daughter's stuff replaced. Is that too much to ask? Am I the a-hole? Edit. To answer some frequently asked questions, why won't my mom take them in? She lives in a retirement community that doesn't allow anyone under the age of 65. I'm not sure if temporary stays are okay, but if she lets them live with her, then she runs the risk of getting evicted. I don't know how much damage was done to the bra itself. Thea's room was pretty trashed. We're talking clothes left on the floor, spilled perfume, and messing with a display shelf full of some of her old Disney dolls. All I know is that Judy saw the boys messing with the bra, thought it was another kind of breast binder, and threw it away. We got locks installed for Thea's room, along with our son and my husband's man cave, after we found out the boys messed with his stuff. Why did I let them in? I've hosted other family and friends during previous hurricanes and never ran into this problem. Maybe someone's kids got into Thea's costumes, but no harm, no foul. I've always been raised to help others, especially family, in their time of need. But this has me wanting to set up boundaries now. Judy and her kids are going to have to find a new place to stay. I'm just waiting for my hubby to come home from work. We may need one of his friends for backup just in case. Edit 2. I can't believe I forgot this. The boys are 8 and 6. Next story. Am I the a-hole for playing favorites with my grandkids, and when confronted by my DL telling her that is due to her? This post is about my son and Amy, my DL. They have been married for about 10 years and have 2 kids. They are 10 and 6. In the beginning, I really tried to get along with her, but she made it difficult. She is not very sociable and always puts her own mom overseeing her husband's side of the family. This is really apparent with holidays and the kids. She always chooses to go to her mom's for holiday, even if I do it on an early day or late day. If I offer to babysit, she always tells me she asked her mom, or she would get back to me. The time I do babysit or get to hang out with the grandkids, she is criticizing everything I do, usually saying that is not how her mom or how she does it. In the beginning, my son was trying to fix this but gave up. We see him separately from his wife and kids. I truly don't understand it, and I have asked if I did anything wrong, but no answer on that. I gave up trying when my other son had kids. It is so much better, and I have a great relationship with my other DL and the kids. The kids are 9, Ava my step-granddaughter, and 4, grandson. I gave Ava a family necklace. That was my mother's. She loves it and has been wearing it everywhere according to my son. That also includes the school which started this issue. My DL called me up and asked why Ava got a family necklace but her daughter, 10, didn't get one. I told her I just wanted to give it to Ava. She got angry and told me I was playing favorite and that her daughter is older so she should have gotten the necklace. I told her that yes, I am playing favorites and it is due to her. I pointed out that I do not know her daughter because of her, that her kids will not be getting any of my family stuff because of her. This was a huge argument and she called some a jerk and wanted me to give her kid a necklace. I am doubting myself on this. Next story. Am I the a-hole for being the reason my grandparents refused to help my dad anymore and laughing when he and his wife complained about it? My mom died when I, 16 was 7. She left me an inheritance that my dad was put in charge of. The money was supposed to be for my future, and nobody was supposed to touch it unless I really needed it, and it was pretty specific. I read through it 5 months ago when shit went down. My dad got married again when I was 10, and he has an 8-year-old stepdaughter and now a 4-year-old daughter with his wife Louise. My half-sister was diagnosed with a rare condition when she was 2. It was always clear something was wrong, but they had a really hard time figuring out what it was. Doctors would say she'd be fine when she was older. This condition isn't life-threatening, like she won't die from it, but it could potentially leave her permanently disabled in a bad way. A few months ago they found out about this hard to get into treatment for it, but it was expensive. There were slasher ways to get help paying for it, but that takes longer. So my dad decided he would use the inheritance mom left me to pay for it. He tried asking me, but he was going to do it anyway, and when I said no he told me as much. Then he shamed me for saying no, for putting college before the health of my half-sister. Louise was in the room with us, but she wasn't talking before I said no. She asked me how I could look at my half-sister at the life she will have if we don't do something and say no. I told my dad I would never forgive him if he took the money. After I read her will, grandparents had a copy. I brought up the fact it was only for my needs, it could be spent before. He told me mom was dead, and he hoped she'd understand. I told him I never would. He told me I'd understand when I'm older. I told him I hated him, and I told Louise she better never speak to me again because I found it disgusting she'd encourage stealing from me and taking my mom's money. I told my grandparents what dad did. They're my mom's parents but had stayed friendly with dad, and there were times they would help him. They shared stuff with him all the time, and grandpa would look at dad's car for free if anything was wrong. That all stopped when I told them. Dad couldn't figure out why until he confronted them about it last week. They told him he had some nerve stealing from me, taking their daughter's money and spending it on his child. My dad was mad that they didn't understand and support his decision. He confronted me about it and complained about what I did. I laughed and told him I had warned him I would never forgive him for it. He asked how I got to be so heartless and selfish. I told him I would never forget what he did. Am I the a-hole? Next story. Am I the a-hole for taking over a family therapy session with my rant? I'm 16 and currently in family therapy with my dad, his wife, my sister, 14, and step-siblings, 10, 9, and 7. This blended family thing is pretty new still, with my dad being remarried for 2 years. My mom died, so I only have one home. And I'll be honest, I was never excited or really into the whole blended family thing. But I know that's not my decision. All 3 of my step-siblings have food allergies, 2 have bad ones. So the way we eat changed a lot. This included places we ate at that were a part of our traditions. For most of my life, we'd eat at this local noodle bar in town for the end of the school year, and whenever we had a school thing, play, graduation, report card, etc., we were not allowed to go there anymore because of the allergies. Even just with dad, it's a no-go. We can't bring ice cream into the house anymore because my step-siblings can't eat it. Only my dad and his wife can prepare food, so no more making a sandwich for myself either. Birthdays have changed. My sister and I can no longer eat at our preferred restaurant of choice because of my step-siblings, and we can't bring my favorite dish into the house either. So now it's a place that my step-siblings love and is acceptable for their allergies. For 2 years, Dad has talked about how glad we are to make all these changes and how family is worth it. About 4 months ago, his wife noticed my sister and I weren't engaged with the family in the way she thought we'd be. We didn't want to talk to her. She also noticed my sister had cut me and her out of some photos of all of us and used just me and her for her room's art wall. So she and Dad decided we needed some family therapy. Since we started about 2 months ago, officially there has been a lot of what's the problem? Why are we there? Explain the problem. And my dad has also talked about all the good from a blended family and changes were mentioned, and he talks about how happy we all are to make them. Well, last week I got so sick of it and the therapist asked me if I was truly okay with them. And I went off. I said no, I'm not. That I hate the changes. That's unfair. That I never said I wanted my step-siblings to celebrate my birthday more than I wanted my favorite foods. These things were decided for me. I said I never would have made that decision because celebrating with them isn't important to me. I'd rather have a good time with the people I love and enjoy food that I love instead. And that I hate not being able to make a sandwich or buy snacks after school. I basically went off for the whole session between a rant and answering questions the therapist put to me. My dad is so mad at me for doing it, and his wife was really upset because her kids heard it. But she was also upset because she accepted on some level I didn't want this ever. She's also kinda mad that I took up a whole session with my rant. Am I the a-hole?